Imagine you're strolling through the streets of a small town in Spain, enjoying the sunny day and the lively atmosphere. You hear a distant roar and look up to see a swarm of planes flying overhead. Suddenly, there are bombs everywhere that start falling from the sky, exploding all around you. You run for cover, but there is nowhere to hide. There are people screaming and bleeding as they die. You see buildings collapsing, fires raging, smoke covering the scene. Amidst the cries of children and elders alike, you see chaos and destruction all around you. No, this is not a scene from a war movie. This is what happened on April 26, 1937, when the German Luftwaffe bombed the vast town of Guernica during the Spanish Civil War. The attack was ordered by General Francisco Franco, who wanted to crush the resistance of the Republican government and its supporters. The bombing lasted for 3 hours, killing or wounding 1/3 of the town's population and leaving it in ruins. When Pablo Picasso, the famous Spanish artist who was living in Paris at the time, heard of this atrocity that had taken place, he was outraged. The brutality of Franco and his allies left him speechless. Thus, he decided to use his art as a weapon against them. The Spanish Republican government commissioned him to create a mural for their pavilion at the 1937 Paris World's Fair, and he chose to depict the bombing of Guernica as his subject. As a result, the famous masterpiece, Guernica, was created, one that was considered as his most controversial artwork of all time. Let's move towards the details of the painting. Guernica is a large oil painting on canvas measuring 3.49 meters or 11 foot 5 inches tall and 3.76 meters or 25 foot 6 inches wide. It is painted only in the shades of gray, black, and white, creating a stark contrast between light and dark. It is composed of several figures and objects that are distorted and fragmented by Picasso's characteristic cubist style. It is a complex and chaotic scene that conveys a sense of pain, suffering, and violence, as one might put it, the source of his inspiration. Furthermore, the painting is divided into 3 sections: left, center, and right. On the left section, we see a bull standing over a woman who holds her dead child in her arms. The bull is a symbol of Spain and its culture, but also of aggravation and brutality. The woman represents the innocent victims of war, especially mothers who lose their children. Her face is twisted in agony as she cries out to the sky. In the center, we see a horse that has been stabbed by a spear and is falling to the ground. The horse is another symbol of Spain and its people, but also of freedom and nobility. The wound on its side suggests a heart that has been pierced by violence, its mouth an open scream that echoes the woman's cry. On the right, we see a woman holding a lamp that casts a dim light on the scene. She emerges from a window or door that suggests an escape or hope. The lamp is also a symbol of enlightenment and truth. It is overshadowed by a large light bulb that hangs above the horse's head. The light bulb that looks like an eye is an ironic reference to technology and progress, which are used for destruction instead of improvement, something that can be referred to as the dark side of modernity and the modern world. At the same time, it seems to be watching over everything from above. There are several other significant elements in the painting that add to its meaning and impact as well. For instance, a shoulder whose body is torn apart by a bomb, a bird that flies above him as a sign of peace or freedom, and a woman who flees from the flames with her arms raised, another woman who is trapped under a collapsing building. In addition to that, we can see that flowers sprout from the soldier's hand as a sign of life and hope, and there are distinct geometric shapes that create a sense of movement or tension. We can notice certain words that are written or painted on some of the figures or objects, creating a sense of intrigue in the painting. Despite what many critics say, Guernica is not meant to be realistic or literal. It's meant to be symbolic and expressive. It is meant to evoke an emotional response from the viewer, to make them feel what Picasso felt when he learned about the bombing: anger, sadness, horror, and compassion. But why was it considered to be such a controversial artwork then? Well, there are several reasons, due to which it has been praised as well as criticized for throughout its history. One of the reasons would be that when it was first exhibited at the Paris World's Fair in 1937, a lot of people ignored its political message and merely saw it as a powerful protest against war and fascism, considering it as a propaganda or interference in Spain's affairs. There were others who even dismissed it as ugly or incomprehensible. However, there were several artists who were inspired by Picasso's work and considered him a role model. For instance, René Magritte, a Belgian surrealist painter, painted the Glass Key, a portrait of Picasso holding a key that symbolized his role as a leader of modern art and a defender of freedom. After the World's Fair, Guernica traveled to different countries, raising awareness and funds for the Spanish Republican cause. It became an icon of anti-war sentiment and a symbol of suffering of the Spanish people. However, it also faced censorship and vandalism from those who opposed its message or its creator. For instance, in 1939, it was covered with a curtain at the Museum of Modern Art in New York to avoid offending the German ambassador. In 1974, it was defaced by a protester who spray-painted the words "Kill Lies All" on it. Let's just say, the controversy over Guernica did not end the Spanish Civil War or even World War II. It continued for decades, especially regarding its own ownership and location. Picasso then entrusted the painting to the Museum of Modern Art in New York until democracy was restored in Spain. However, he died in 1973 before Franco's dictatorship ended in 1975. His heirs and the Spanish government then entered into a long and complicated negotiation over the return of Guernica to Spain. The painting was a source of pride and pain for both sides. For the Spanish Republicans and their supporters, it was a symbol of their struggle and sacrifice for democracy and freedom. For Franco and his followers, it was a reminder of their defeat and humiliation by the international community. Both parties claimed the right to possess and display the painting, but neither could agree on the terms or the timing. The negotiation lasted for 6 years, from 1975 to 1981, and an agreement was finally reached in 1981, after Spain had established a constitutional monarchy and a parliamentary democracy. The painting was transferred from New York to Madrid on September 10, 1981, under heavy security and media attention. Some welcomed it as a national treasure and a symbol of reconciliation, while others rejected it as a foreign import and a symbol of division. It was first exhibited at the Casón del Buen Retiro, an annex of the Prado Museum, where Picasso had been the honorary director in exile. In 1992, it was moved to its permanent home at the Reina Sofia Museum, where it is now. This remarkable painting still remains a controversial and influential artwork to this day. It has been given different meanings and is seen by people in different ways. On one hand, it may still generate debates and discussion among artists, critics, historians, politicians, and the public. While on the other hand, the painting elicits admiration and emulation from some. However you perceive the picture, it is a fact that it challenges and provokes us to reflect on war and peace. It provides us with a deeper understanding of art, politics, history, and memory, and how these concepts shape our understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Click on any of the 2 videos on the screen right now for more content. With that said, we'll see you in our next video.